But with that, it is Mother's Day. We have a video here in just a moment as they cue that up for you. I don't know. I have a kind of a lighthearted guy. I hope you enjoy this. I think it's pretty funny. But it really spoke to me about how mothers actually think and what they actually say to us. So go ahead and take a look at this video.
You don't have to wash your hands. I have so much time to myself. Hey, walk away when I'm talking to you. My kids really respect my privacy. When this timer goes off, please turn it off and do not tell me. Thanks. Here, can you use up all my battery? Don't call me when you get there. I don't want to know where you are. It is just too quiet in this car. Okay, we're about to leave for church, so if you're gonna make a huge mess, you better do it now. I don't know, your dad usually does everything around here. All of these people are such good drivers. Eating dinner is completely optional. Hanging up your towel is completely optional. Flushing the toilet is completely optional. Okay, this time, can you smile more like a crazed lunatic? Hey, you want to dig through the fridge for the 5th time today? I'd definitely rather be here than at the beach. I am loving the look of these chips on the floor. I am loving the smell of your feet in my face. I am loving this back pain. Get a massage, ew. No thanks. Take anything you want from my closet and don't worry about putting it back. Don't look at the camera. Look over there. If your sister takes your toy, just give her a good smack on the head. Hey, come drink that grape juice in here on the carpet. It's dinner time. Everybody come get a snack. Hey, did you know you can wear the same pair of underwear all week long?
Don't you just love the things moms actually say to us? Where would we be without moms taking the time to correct us when we need it and to encourage us when we need it? I thought about that and I thought, this is just perfect because I've heard my wife say the opposite of those things way more than once to our children. And I honestly know that without my wife's influence, my kids would not be the children they are today. And I'm thankful for mothers and the way they shape our lives. And they do ask us sometimes tough questions. And today, as we continue our series looking at the whole idea of these leading questions that God has put in our lives. Remember, I said that as we started this series 3 weeks ago, that Jesus asked well over 100 questions of his disciples and followers in the New Testament. And we're just taking a peek at 4 of those questions during this series, because often we're the ones asking something from Jesus. We're the ones coming to him, asking a question of him, asking help from him. But he asked some things of us to consider. And we've been looking at different stories in the New Testament where he asked specific questions. Remember, the first week we kind of learned that when you're afraid, what do? Jesus asked, why are you so afraid? Because I'm here with you. You don't need to be afraid. The second week, last week, we talked about, when things are tough and you really need a miracle, he asked the question, do you believe I can do this? Do you really believe I can make a difference? Do you believe I can help you overcome what you're going through? Do you believe I can provide a miracle when you actually need it? Next week, we're going to talk about when you have a problem. When you're having these spiritual doubts in your life, because we all have doubts. He asked the question, why do you doubt? And we're going to answer that next week. But this week, what happens when you're up against problems that just don't seem to change? Things in your life that you have worked on and worked on and worked on, prayed for, tried to change, and it just seems like you're stuck. We're going to answer a question he asked, do you want to be well? Do you really want to be well? Because we have different kinds of problems in life. I put them in 2 categories. We have these temporary problems that just come on us that we get through, something like an injury, maybe a loss of a job, or something that it's just short term, it's not going to last forever, and we walk through those problems. But then there's those problems in life that just seem to persist, and they continue on, things that you can't seem to get over, whether it's an addiction, whether it's a depression in your life, whether it's a financial issue or something, a sin issue in your own life where you want something to change and you work at it, you pray about it, things get better, then they come back again, you kind of binge and it goes back and forth, and you just seem to be stuck. And some of this may have lasted months, and for some of you, it may have lasted your whole lifetime. In fact, you might be walking through some of those things right now in your life, and you're saying, am I ever going to be set free from any of this stuff? Is it ever going to be any better? Today, what I hope will happen is you look at the ongoing problems in your life or maybe the life of others. I want you to listen to this message through the lens of the reality that in a moment, you can have an encounter with Jesus that will change everything for the rest of your life. Because that's what happens in the story that we're going to look at today. In just a moment, a person encounters Jesus and everything changes. So I want you to listen to it through that lens. So like if you're struggling with headaches and you've been struggling with headaches your whole life and you think it's never going to get better, maybe there's an answer that God will reveal to you today. Maybe it's a medical issue. Maybe it's depression. Maybe you've struggled with overeating. You've tried to get control of how you eat and you just can't seem to be under control. Or maybe it's because you overcommit. That's a big problem in a lot of people's lives. They just can't say no to anything, and they've overcommitted, and they go, I'm just worn out all the time. I don't know how to manage my life this way. Maybe it's an addiction, and you've tried many times to set that addiction aside. You've gone to AA, you've gone to NA, you've gone all over the place trying to find help. Maybe you've gone to Celebrate Recovery, and you just don't seem to find relief. Maybe it's relational. You keep going from one bad relationship to another, to another, to another, or your relationships that you want to get better never seem to get better. What do you do when you're up against a wall? What do you do? So I want you to listen to the message through that lens today of an ongoing challenge maybe that you have in your life that you would really like God to do something about. And we're going to look at a very familiar story. It's in John chapter 5, starting with verse 1. It says, sometime later, Jesus went up to Jerusalem from one of the Jewish festivals. Now there is in Jerusalem near the sheep gate a pool, which in Aramaic is called Bethesda, and which is surrounded by 5 covered colonnades. Here a great number of disabled people used to lie, the blind, the lame, and the paralyzed. Now get the picture. There's this gate. It's an entrance, in Jerusalem where people come in, and near it is this natural pool. And it's kind of ironic that you would have this natural pool right next to a gate that's called the sheep gate. Now, yeah, just think about that for a moment. I get this image of sheep coming in and they're walking over to the pool, and you know what sheep do. Anyway, this is where this pool is, and there's something about this pool that happens that he wants to reference here. Because people who were infirm, who were blind, who were lame, who needed healing, they would come to this pool because there was this idea that once in a while an angel would stir the water. If you got in the water, then you would be healed. And so people would lie there looking for their opportunity to get into the water. Continues on in verse 5. One who was there had been an invalid for how long? 38 years. That's important, guys. 38 years this person's been here. When Jesus saw him lying there and learned that he had been in this condition for a long time, he asked him, do you want to get well? Do you really want to get well? Sir, the invalid replied, I have no one to help me in the pool when the water is stirred. While I'm trying to get in, someone else goes down ahead of me. Okay. Then Jesus said, get up, pick up your mat and walk. At once the man was cured, and he picked up his mat and walked. We see in this encounter a singular moment in the presence of Jesus changed everything in this person's life. Just a singular moment relieved 38 years of struggle. And in this story, I think there's 3 things that we can look at for the problems that seem to persist when we can't get through something. And the things that happen to us that we should be mindful of and how God wants us to overcome those things through his power. Because the longer a problem persists, it seems the more discouraged you become. You ever notice that? The longer you have a problem in your life that you can't get over, the more discouraged you get about it. How long had he been there? 38 years. Every day trying to get to that pool and to get into the water. Some people live with addictions for years, trying to get over them, trying to get past them, and they can't. Sometimes people are in a bad marriage, and I don't mean bad because the marriage is bad. They aren't handling marriage well, and it's a struggle, and they never think it's going to get better, and they've been in it for years, and they're thinking, is what it's going to be like for the rest of my married life? I didn't sign on for this. I've heard all those things from people. I wish it was better. How come this person can't change? Why won't that person change? Why can't we be like so-and-so? And, oh, can I continue to do this for the rest of my life? I would love it to change. I want it to be better. Or maybe you have a health issue that persists. And I don't want to give any pie-in-the-sky ideas I'm talking today. There is no guarantee God will heal you from any health issue that you have. All right? I just want you to know that. There's some kind of falsehood out there often taught that if you have enough faith, God will heal you from anything. I'm sorry, the Bible does not say that. Okay? Paul's the greatest example of that. He wrote about a healing that God did not provide. He said, I'm sorry, Paul, you're going to have to live with this. Sometimes God chooses that. But sometimes we don't experience healing because we don't even ask. Or we don't do the things that will help promote healing in our own lives. And so there's an issue there sometimes. And people will say, well, I tried. I tried to change, but I can't change. I'm always going to be like this. I'm never going to get any better. Nothing's ever going to get better for me. Have you ever had those moments in life? A few years ago, probably about 10 years ago now, I developed a disorder called PMR, polymyalgia rheumatica, and it is an autoimmune disorder that affects the joints of your body, typically the upper body, but mine affected every joint in my body, to the point that I could go to a movie theater and watch a movie, and it took me 5 minutes to stand up and be able to walk to get out. You guys didn't see that on Sunday because I would warm myself up every Sunday before I got up on stage and loosen my body up. But my wife knew because she'd watch me walk up the steps, and it was painful to take every single step every day. That persisted for 2.5 years. Most of you didn't know about it, and I thought as it began, am I ever going to get past this? Am I going to live with this for the rest of my life? Thankfully, there is a simple treatment, but it's not a great treatment for your body. So I started taking the prednisone that was necessary to relieve the inflammation, which caused me to gain like 35 pounds of weight, which is not a lot of fun because it doesn't go away afterwards. It seems to change how your body does things. And I was getting depressed after a while. I mean, just really in despair, saying, God, I don't want to feel like this the rest of my life. It's not fun to ask your wife to help you get out of bed every morning. You know, and I wasn't that old at the time. I was mid-50s, and I thought, this is not what I planned. I want to still play softball. I want to ride a bike. I want to go play golf. I want to do those things. And I said, God, am I ever going to get past this? You know, it's just interesting. We have those moments, okay? And fortunately, God was gracious, and it went away, okay? Can I honestly tell you, it's back again. Okay? That doesn't mean it's permanent. And so I started thinking the same things a few months ago and saying, God, why? All right? Because we have problems that will persist. And we can get discouraged. And I can tell you, I got very discouraged when I started feeling those same joint aches and those same problems. And thought, not again. I thought this is a one-and-done deal in life. And I wouldn't have to deal with that. And I said, okay, but I've learned some things between the first time and this time. And I want to help you guys understand that as we see that these problems that persist, God has a plan for us. And there's things that we can actually do, and there's things that we should not do. And we can so easily fall into the trap of getting discouraged and just settling for where we're at instead of doing what you need to do to go to a different place in your health, in your life, or whatever's going on. So the longer that problem persists, I guarantee you, the more discouraged you will become if you're not mindful of what's happening. Secondly, the more excuses you're going to make. You're going to start making excuses for whatever it is that you're going through. You know, this guy's a great example. What did he say? Verse 7. I have no one to help me in the pool. I can hear, I don't mean to pick on this poor guy who's, not able to get around, but he's kind of whining. Hey, Jesus, I don't have anybody to get me in the pool, and everybody else runs ahead of me, and I can't get in. I would think after 38 years, honestly, if I wanted to get in that pool, I would wiggle, move, do anything I can to be right next to that pool, and I would be watching for the first little bubble to come out of that pool, and I would roll my body right in. But he's gotten so used to where he's at that now he's just whining that he can't do anything about it. I mean, and don't we find ourselves there sometimes? We get so used to where we're at, so comfortable, we make excuses about everything instead of doing the things that need to be done. Okay? My husband won't ever change, so I'm not going to try any longer. I'm just going to live with it. Okay? Never going to change. I'm never going to get a good job because I don't have a degree, so why should I even try? I won't apply. I won't do anything. I'm just going to resign myself to the fact this is how it's always going to be. Okay? I don't really have any time to exercise. I know I'm out of shape, and I know I need it, but I don't have any time to exercise. Let me make an excuse. It's all my time's fault, right? Oh, I know I could use some counseling. I tried it once. I went once, and I didn't like it, and it didn't do any good. Well, duh. One time you show up. Well, I tried church. I went for 2 weeks. It didn't make a difference. Okay. I tried that medication. I didn't like the way it made me feel, so I gave up on it. Now I still feel bad. And you keep making excuses over and over again for wherever you happen to find yourself. Because the longer a problem persists, the more excuses we make. And we make those excuses because we don't want to really do anything about where we're at. We know we need healing, but do we really want healing? There's a big difference to know you need it and know you want it. And then here's what can also happen. The longer a problem persists, the more you learn to compensate for the problem. Sometime today in our church, someone's going to be here today who is struggling with alcoholism, and they are highly functional. It might be you, or an addiction, and you're highly functional. That means you can go to work and you can perform, and even people know that maybe you have a problem. Your performance is acceptable and it's okay. You're able to navigate life. You can get back and forth. You can take care of yourself. Yeah, your family's struggling a little bit. Everybody's hurting a little bit, but you're very highly functional, and you're just okay with that. You have learned to compensate for the problem that you've had in your life. Okay? Maybe you exist in that dysfunctional marriage I was talking about. You guys are able to at least navigate life, even if we don't talk to each other, even if we don't do things together. You know, we're existing, our kids are doing okay, we're making ends meet, we're fine, but it's not good, and you know it. But you're just walking through it because you've learned to compensate for it. Your friends don't know how much problem you have because you don't ever show it to your friends. Your family doesn't know because you never tell them. You don't ask anybody to pray for you. You don't hold yourself accountable to anyone. You've learned to say, I can hide this even though we don't like what we're going through. Some of you right now have a porn addiction. And you're really good at compensating because you know how to hide your history. You know how to do it when no one else is watching. You know how to pull out your phone and not let anybody see what you're doing. You're struggling and you know it, but you don't want to give it up because you're used to it. You're okay. I'm not hurting anybody anyway. We hear all those excuses from people. Some of you are living way beyond your means, and you've learned really well how to rob Peter to pay Paul. And you're going over here and you're doing this and you're making all these little plans and you're doing all this stuff behind the scenes and you're just barely making it by and you're living paycheck by paycheck and you have just learned to compensate for life. And the longer you live in a problem, the longer it persists, the better you get at it. Unfortunately, my experience in life is sooner or later all that collapses. Sooner or later, it seems to fall down around you. You may not like the circumstances you're in, but you're used to them. And you know how to manage them, and you're not doing anything about them. Here's the truth I want you to hang on. If any of this is something in your own life, you cannot change what you are willing to tolerate. You cannot change anything in your life. God can't heal you if there's something you're just willing to tolerate it. If you are okay with it, it's not going to change. And I find so many people that come to me wanting their life to change, but they're really happy with where they're at. They're okay with living in the mess that their life is. And God's going, I want to heal you, but you have to cooperate. If you like where you're at more than you want to be healed, you're never going to get healed. Okay? What does he ask the man? The man did not ask for healing. Jesus asked him, do you want to be well? Do you really want to be well? Now, Sometimes faith gets in the way. We talked a little bit about this last week. There's some big hindrances to faith that can get in the way of trusting God to heal us in situations and make us well. Maybe worry is a big one. Doubt might be a big one. Fear might be a big one that keeps us from trusting God to do things in our lives. But I mentioned it last week, and I want to kind of expand on it this week. I really do believe that the biggest hindrance to faith when it comes to these kinds of issues is familiarity. We're just okay with where we're at. Okay? People say, but you don't understand what I'm going through. Okay. Does that change the reality that you need to be healed? Just because I don't understand it? We're making excuses for it? You get to the point where you just accept what is instead of what God can make it be. You're saying, I'll settle for where I'm at instead of where God can take me. You know. Well, I've always been unable to walk. That's his excuse. I've been here 38 years. Nobody can help me. Okay? And he seems to have resigned himself to a life of not walking. We've always struggled financially, and I guess we'll always struggle financially. Okay? I'm an average student, and I'll always be an average student. I always seem to date the wrong kind of people. I mean, I've heard all these excuses. Basically, they're saying, I'm okay with where I'm at. I don't really want to change. Well, I've always had a bad relationship with my father. Okay. Well, I've always had doubts. You don't understand, I've always struggled with this. What you're saying to yourself is, really, I'm okay with where I'm at. I don't like it, but I'm okay with it. I don't think I put this in your handout, but I put it on the screen this morning when I was redoing things. Until your desire becomes bigger than your disability, you will not start to find healing. Until your desire for God to do something is greater than what you're going through, you will not find healing. You will not see God work. He doesn't force his healing on you. He doesn't. He expects you to want to be healed. Okay? Do you want to be made well? That's what he asked. Do you really want it? You know, and it's almost insulting that Jesus would ask that question. Do you want to be well? What's the guy to say? Of course I want to be well. That's why I'm here at the pool. Right? That's why I'm here. It takes faith to step away from the familiar to where God can take you. And the first step in getting better in any area of your life is, do you really, honestly want to be well? Or have you grown comfortable? Have you grown accustomed? Are you familiar with the life that you're in? Are you making excuses? Okay? I mean, why did Jesus ask the question? Why did he ask him that question? Because it seems that's a no-brainer. Of course the guy wants to be well. I think it's because you can't help someone who needs help, only someone who wants help. You can't help someone who just needs help, only someone who truly wants help. So do you want to be well? And to be honest with you, we say we want it all the time, but our actions tell us something just the opposite. Okay? Yeah, I really want to get out of debt, but shopping is your number one drug of choice, right? You want to get out of debt, but you keep buying stuff. Okay? Well, I want to be free from my addiction, but I'm really comfortable with it. It gives me what I need. It gives me temporary pleasure. It gets me away from my problems for a while. Okay? I really want to control my temper, but it really works when I use it because it controls other people. And I like that sense of control. I mean, do we want to get well? Do you really want to get past those things? Well, I really want to lose weight. So pass me some more of those really tasty Hawaiian buns, right? Come on, this is the reality that we face. Do you want to be well? He asked them because he says, you can't just need a healing. You can't just need things to change. You have to want them to change before God's going to act. And it doesn't matter how long you've been in the middle of the problem. How many years has he been there? 38 years. Some people say, it's been too long and things are never going to... That's a lie. If God can heal him after 38 years, he can heal us no matter how long we've struggled with something. No matter what's going in our lives, God has the power to do that. And often God will take your life wherever you're struggling the most and heal you from it and use that to your benefit and the benefit of others. I've seen people who have gone through very difficult times in their lives. They come out of it because God walks them through that and they trust Him to guide them out of that. And their greatest misery turns into their greatest ministry. And all of a sudden, they are helping others right where they have been before. God has walked them out of a dark spot, and now they're walking others out of that dark spot because what God has done. God can use those moments to change your life forever and then change the life of others. But the man says what? No one will help me into the water. So what does Jesus say? I love this. Get up, pick up your mat and walk. Okay? And once the man was cured, he picked up the mat and he walked. The man didn't ask to be healed. He didn't earn it. He didn't deserve it. He didn't even recognize the possibility of it with Jesus standing there. Jesus did for him what he didn't even ask for. He did. Okay? Here's a lesson in that. When you get close to Jesus, when you strengthen that relationship, when you invest in that relationship, when you spend time with the Lord, when you read His Word, when you pray, when you gather with others like here or in small groups to just let God speak into your life, when you read something that's inspiring that someone has written, that when you open up your Bible, most importantly, and just read who this God is that we serve, and you draw close, He begins to do things for you you didn't even ask. He does. He starts changing things you didn't even know needed to be changed. Okay? He'll heal things in you that you didn't even ask for healing for. He'll bring forgiveness when you didn't even know you were unforgiving. He does that because this man was close to Jesus and something happened that changed his life forever. There's a lesson in that for us. Jesus didn't heal the man because the man was good. Jesus healed the man because Jesus is good. He did it for His glory. Yes, for that man's benefit, but He did it for His glory so that we could learn from it. And so He could ask us, do we really want to be well? Do you really want to be well? Do you? That's a soul-searching question, guys. You really have to step back and say, honestly, inside of myself, do I really want to get better in these areas? And if the answer is no, I'm comfortable, it's not going to happen then. Healing will not begin until your desire is bigger than your disability. Whatever it is. It doesn't matter how long you've been there, God will take you out of it. And He'll do things in you that once you get close to Him and trust Him that you've never thought would be possible. And so this man says, no one can get me into the water. And basically what Jesus says to him, and I know it sounds a little harsh, I don't want to hear your excuse. I want to see your faith. Stop making excuses. And trust me. Let me heal you. Let me provide for you what you need. Let me correct that issue in your life. Do what you can. Throw the cigarettes away. If you're addicted to cigarettes and you don't want to be involved in that, then throw those suckers away. Stop buying them. Okay? You think you drink too much pop? I mean, I hear that all the time. Then stop going down the pop aisle when you go to the store. There's a part you can play in this, okay? Don't just sit there and make excuses. Well, I got to shop. Well, yeah, but you don't have to go down that aisle. You don't have to grab that item and put it in your cart. Okay? Be accountable. Tell people in your life group, this is what I'm struggling with, and I'm asking God to heal me, and I need you guys to know about it because I want you to be there to help support me to get better. Maybe you need to do something extreme and check yourself into rehab. Everybody's going, you really need some professional help. Well, I can manage this all on my own. Yeah, how's that working out for you? Maybe you need to take a bold step. Maybe you need to call for counseling. I don't know what you need, but are you willing to take the step to make it happen? Will you do that? I mean, you guys are all smart people, right? Nobody's stupid in here, is there? Except maybe up on the stage. Okay? If some small tweak to your life would have worked, all that would be gone today. Sometimes it takes drastic action. And God may ask you and move upon your heart saying, I need you to do this. If you want to be well, will you take the step he lays out in front of you? Will you be bold enough to do that? And for some of you, healing is going to come today because you're going to hear something that says, I need to take that step. I need to change something. Okay. Do you want to be overcome by the addiction that's held you captive, or do you want to overcome the addiction? Take a step. Do you want to be free of worry and anxiety and the fear that keeps you up at night? Then let God begin to heal you. Do something different. Do you want to overcome the inability to trust people so that you never ever have close relationships? Then start risking trust and let God teach you that you can trust others and you can ultimately trust Him. Better yet, do you believe God can do anything? How many of you, you're all doing this? Are you living your life like you believe that? The word impossible should not be in the Christian dictionary. There is nothing impossible with God. He can do anything. If that's the truth, do you want to be well? Do you want to be made well? Because God will help the one who wants to be made well, not just the one who needs to be made well. Do you really want it? You know, I've had a lot of things in my life where I know I've ran up against that wall. Health issues. For me, I also have this tendency to not take breaks. Any of you like that? You know, I kind of laugh and talk to the elders. I have so many weeks of vacation every year, and I keep a log of how much I've used. Now, I've been serving you guys for, 27 years now? And I have 360 days of vacation on the books that have not been used. I have 400 days of sick leave. So when I retire, you guys better pony up, okay? All right, just realize that. But in all seriousness, I have a problem not taking time off. That's just me. And it's not healthy. And the older I get, the more I recognize I need that time off. I just do. So last year, my wife and I said, if I want to get better, we've got to do some things differently. So we started scheduling actual time off, and I actually started taking it. Okay? And so some of you guys may say, well, how come John's not around as much in the office as he used to be? Because he's doing what he needs to do to stay healthy. Okay? I want to finish well when I finish my ministry, and I don't want to struggle, so I need to do the things that take care of me as well, and I know that. Because I have this tendency not to do that. I mean, you guys do the same thing if you're like me. I mean, I go home, I don't detach from this place when I go home. I go home and I pull out my computer and I work on stuff, or I'm reading a book, or I'm talking to someone, or I'm answering a text message or an email, or I'm counseling someone over the phone, or I have someone coming into my house and they sit in my office and I counsel them in my office and they go, oh, well, Friday's your day off. It's the only day I'm available. And I'm going, all right, come on over. Okay. Well, I can't do anything till nighttime. Okay, come on over. And I've learned that I have to do my part. So I have to set boundaries, and I have to take that time off. Because God wants to heal me and keep me healthy. And so am I going to do that? Because if I don't, I have what I struggle with often. It takes a toll mentally, physically on me. And right now, because I'm struggling, it's a lot harder. But God's good. He wants me to do my part because I want to be well. So am I going to do what I need to do to be well? Are you going to do what you need to do to be well and let God empower you to do so? So I'm sorry, guys. I'm protecting my days off. Okay? Just so you know, if you can't find me, don't hunt me down. Okay? Send me a text message. Send me an email. When I see it, I'll respond. I love you. And if you have a crisis, I'll be there. I'll be the first one there if you'll let me be. But please realize, for you, for me, for anyone else, when God says this is what you need to do it. Because I need to be well. My wife needs me to be well. My grandkids need me to be well. You guys need me to be well. Okay? So, be praying. And if this speaks to you because you have to make changes, then make them. Because here's the truth. Jesus will do his part. Now you do yours. What's your part? Are you going to sit there and whine because no one will put you in the water? Or are you going to do everything you can to get in that water and let Jesus heal you? What are you going to do? The choice is yours. For me, I've chosen that I want to let God heal me as I cooperate with him. Let's pray. Gracious God, thank you for the healing that you provide in our lives, whether it's from an addiction or from health problems or financial problems or whatever it is that we're going through in life, God. You are a good God. And you want for us more than we want for ourselves. And yes, Lord, I know you're not going to take all of our suffering away. I know that. I know I might struggle with this health issue till the day I die. That's okay. But Lord, help me to be motivated to do what I need to do so that you can do what only you can do. Lord, you'll give me things I don't even ask for, and I thank you for that. And I pray today for whoever might be hearing this message and saying, I need this. I want that. I just don't need to be healed. I really want to be healed. And today could be that very first day of healing that begins. In fact, he can set you free right at this very moment. And if that's you, you just simply need to turn to him and say, Jesus, I need you. I want you. Lord, heal me. Start that journey in my life. Take away from me the things that are unhealthy. Lord, I'll do my part. I won't walk into sin. I'll walk away from it. I won't walk into problems that I don't need to. I'll walk away from those things. I'll do my part, but God, only you can truly heal my heart. So, Lord, I trust my life into your hands and ask that you would do what only you can do through your Holy Spirit to change my life. And I thank you in advance for the answers you're providing right now. And Lord, if nothing ever seems to change, I trust you because I know you know what's best for me. So I place my life in your hands, the only hands worthy of trust. For we say this in Christ's precious name. Amen. Let's stand and sing together, guys.